First of all, team news, injury news, so who's fit and who's not fit for tomorrow?
Well, we've still got one or two doubts. Makeda and Revell are making good progress, but still remain doubtful for tomorrow. But I can tell you that Joe Mason will be joining the group travelling, which is a good sign and good to see. And it remains to be seen, obviously, whether he'll start. But yeah, he's done well. He's trained well recently, so we're pleased with that. He's had a little bit of football, probably not enough, but he's had a couple of under-21 starts. So we're delighted that he's back in the frame with us.
Is that one of the reasons why maybe you could allow Kevin Jones to leave, Joe Mason coming back into the fold?
Not really. That was a separate issue anyway. To be honest, it's fortunate really that Joe is at that stage where he's looking to finish the season and play some football. So, as I say, we'll take the positives from that.
It's been a good week for Welsh football. Obviously, the first team winning in Israel, the under-21s winning at the Cardiff City Stadium on Tuesday. There's a good feeling around Wales at the moment, football-wise. Are you hoping that you can capitalise on that tomorrow?
Yeah, no, there is a good feeling. I think all the home teams have done particularly well, haven't they, in the campaigns to date? And I think that's good for everybody. I think it's a good, feel factor for most people up and down the country, to be honest. And for us in particular, with Wales flying high is great, because we have people involved. We've got Martin Margitson, obviously, goalkeeper coach, and sometimes Declan John or Gabs is called up into that group as well. So, and I watched the under-21s dispose of Bulgaria in midweek, and they done particularly well, and it was great to see Tommy O'Sullivan nick a couple of goals. So, from our point of view, we feel as if we're trying to contribute towards that as well, and there is a feel-good factor. There's no doubt about that, and it helps everybody.
Reading, what have you made of them this season? Because they too had to change a manager halfway through the season.
Yeah, a little bit, probably similar to ourselves in that there's been an element of inconsistency. I think they started off quite well, and I think their current form is 1-2, drawn 2, lost 2. So I think they've been a little bit up and down, but they've had a terrific cup run with that. So we know that they can be strong, resilient, and at the same time capable of scoring goals. They've got a big squad to choose from. There's no doubt about that. So it's very difficult to know what side Steve will go with. He's got one or two internationals coming back, like Norwood. We know Williams is not available tomorrow, but he has options of who he puts in that midfield, whether it's Karakan or somebody else. He's got one or two on loan as well, hasn't he, from Chelsea? So he has options, a few strings to his bow. But we know it would be a very competitive game, a very tough game. But look, our form away from home has been very good recently, and we would like to keep that going.
Do you hope they might have sort of half an eye on that FA Cup semi-final, Russell, because it was such a huge occasion for them as a club?
To be honest, I was hoping that the clash would be a bit closer, but they don't play till the 18th, do they? So I'm sure they'll be fully focused on the league game. If it was next weekend, then maybe there could be motivation for them to stay fit and fresh for that. But look, it's an important league game for both of us. I think they still need points for various reasons as well. They won't want to get sucked into any danger. I'm sure they won't, but they won't want that at this stage anyway. I think they'd want to get a few more points on the board so they can look forward to that FA Cup semi-final, really.
You mentioned Norwood. In the cup game down in Burnley, he was very influential. He scored a goal, had quite a lot of time in midfield. So how important to sort of limit his influence this time round?
Yeah, like a few players in this league, if you give them time and space, they can be a threat, and Norwood is in that category. His long and short passing game, he's good, and he can get a shot off as well. If he's taking set plays, he can be a danger as well. But they've got a few like that, to be honest, that can take a good corner or a good free kick. So we're aware of their threats for sure.
But, news this week, Russell, that next season the top stand won't be open, and maybe season ticket sales are not quite where the club would like. Does that disappoint you ahead of next season? Maybe, you know, crowds are going to be down. Can you understand that at all?
Yeah, I can. First of all, it's a costly thing anyway, isn't it? Buying a season ticket, Steve. Let's start with that. But obviously, being in the Premier League, the following of fans then, and to continue with the hope of getting up at the first time of asking again from the Championship back up to the Premier League is you're going to get probably those floating supporters coming down and still supporting the football club. I think, look, our hardcore of supporters will always be with us, as they are with most clubs. All we can do is, I think, is work extremely hard. We need a good pre-season, Steve. We need a good summer. We need a good pre-season. Get off to a good start, and then I'm sure the fans will start coming back.
I don't know if did you see those comments Kenwyne Jones made when he was interviewed at Bournemouth? I'm sure you saw them. I think he said Cardiff was an unstable club and that he was mystified by the way he was being moved out and players were being moved out. How would you respond to Kenwyne's comments?
Steve, I haven't really read the article, I'll be honest, but unstable, no, I don't think that's the right choice of word, really. I think we're trying to be very responsible as a football club, and we're trying to gain stability. I said before, I mean, there are clubs in League One that have struggled to do that, and like the likes of Coventry, Barnsley, Sheffield United, that probably weren't responsible and ended up in League One, and Wolves found themselves in that. What we're trying to do is be responsible, get the club on a sustainable level, and then move forward again. That doesn't mean we lack any ambition. That means that, you know, we stabilise in the football club so we can build again and move forward again. And you know, that's how I see it. I can only say how I see it. Kenwyne may see it a different way. I'm not sure.
Has he played his last game for Cardiff, would you think? I mean, because he's out of contract and he's away, so the way he's talking seems to suggest his time here is over, or how do you see that situation?
No, I think he's got another year left on his contract,
right, okay.
Steve.
But I mean,
no, I don't.
Because I think the point is, isn't it, that you're talking about stabilising and the cost-cutting measures. Well, it's an open secret. He's probably one of the biggest earner. He seems out of kilter with maybe the direction the club is moving.
Yeah,
next season.
Well, let me say, in any, if you're regrouping as a football club, you've still got to hang on to your quality. It's getting the balance. It's not cutting and all of a sudden the budget's down to that for every single player that comes in. I still think you need, well, I'm certain you need your quality players as well. So it's important that you get the balance right. Whoever leaves the football club, you can't just because they're a high earner doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to leave the football club.